Broadcasting from the great state of Texas. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Good evening, Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, Dallas, Fort Worth, down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else, inside or outside of the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening. Welcome into the Chad Hasty Show. Glad that you have joined us today. Oh my goodness, what a day it has been. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of news to get to throughout the show today. Of course, we've got the latest on ice. Tom Homan is in Minnesota. The adults are taking over in Minnesota, and Tom Homan being there is a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. And so we've got that to get into today. We've got possible war with Iran back in the news, possible airstrikes in the future coming for Iran. Also, the kind of something that we an off take of what we talked about yesterday. Headline: Basic income needed to cushion blow from AI job losses. Yes, the push for a universal basic income is back. And this is something I talked about years ago as we started talking about AI replacing workers and replacing warehouse workers and workers of just everywhere. Just wait, you're going to see a push for a universal basic income, and with politicians now very happy just to throw money around. Have you noticed that? Politicians very happy just to throw money at anyone they can these days, whether it's Trump bucks or for Dan Patrick, little Texan bucks, or even the Democrats who just love throwing money at people. It seems that it's not Republican versus Democrat anymore when it comes to throwing money out there, and we're really not that far away from a serious debate on a universal basic income. So we've got that to get into on the show today. We've also got McKenzie DiLullo with the Texan News scheduled to join us coming up at 5:35. We've got news about Ted Cruz making headlines, including Ted Cruz in the U.S. Supreme Court. Oh, this is something that comes around every couple of years. What if Ted Cruz was a nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, and Ted Cruz comes in and goes, "No, I want to be president. I don't want to be on the Supreme Court. I want to be president." Well, we've got that to get into as well during the show today. We've also, for the Lubbock audience, we've got some giveaways for you today, including the Pancake Festival, which is coming up Valentine's Day. So you'll probably want to win some tickets to that, and lovely pancakes on Valentine's Day. So we've got all of that to get into, and so much more. Possible government shutdown, that's back in the news today. And like I said, we've got just a laundry list of things to get to on the show throughout the program. Today, we want to hear from you. You've heard from everybody else all day long. Now it's your chance, your opportunity to have your say on all the issues of the day, whether it's a local issue, a state issue, or even something on the national scene. Yes, we want to hear from you. You can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. You can text in, sound off on any of the topics, anything that you would like to talk about today. Just let us know who you are. Give us your name and where you're listening from. That way we can give you the proper shout out, the proper acknowledgement whenever you do text in to the show. We also will take your app chats. Just tap the app. Send us a message that way. That way you can send in if you're listening via the app. We know many of you do. You can send in your questions, your thoughts. If you're pondering something at the moment, you can send that in, and we'll reply to those as soon as they reach us. Also on social media at Chad Hasty Radio. That's at Chad Hasty Radio on social media. And let's see. Oh yes, the old-fashioned way of doing things, where you get to call in. You can do that as well today. It's real simple. All you have to do is dial in at 1-800-687-0790. That's 1-800-687-0790, where you can text in or call in, and the very first voice you hear from when you dial in today, it's our good buddy Nick. Nick, how you doing?
Doing well. In fact, I may have mentioned this yesterday.
Okay.
But I went shopping last night.
Yes, you went to the grocery store.
I went to the grocery store, and I know this is a temptation for many people. The sweets aisle. You walk past and you see your favorite little, favorite candy, cookie treat.
Yes.
In there. That doesn't tempt me, and I'm not sure why. However, there was one thing that I saw. I did go down the aisle because I'm a human. I went down the sweets dessert aisle, and those little, what are they? Little chocolate bars with like caramel inside.
Yeah.
Or maybe you've got the white chocolate squares with it's like filled with something.
Yeah.
Delicious. Or my favorite, the peppermint. They usually don't sell those, maybe once or twice a year. That was the one thing. I forget the brand. It's not Ghirardelli. It's not Godiva. I don't know what it is. But that thing, that little glimmer of the package that caught my eye as I'm perusing.
Yeah.
For some reason that made me hang up there. I got a little distracted, and that hasn't happened in quite a long time. So I don't know what it is. I'm craving this chocolate bar, and normally I don't. So I don't know what. It's a turning point in my life.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
The chocolate cravings. Are kicking in.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it is.
Yeah.
But so maybe I stopped myself this time. I don't know if I'm going to be strong enough next time.
No, you never know.
No.
You never know.
You get the bread. You get the eggs. Maybe a little piece of chocolate then.
Is that like your go-to impulse buy? Is like a little snack, little chocolate,
sometimes,
a little dessert?
Yeah. Because I like to have a well-rounded lunch.
Sure.
Okay, and of course, that means dessert.
Yeah.
You got to have dessert in there. So I'll throw in a little treat, a little chocolate square, and so that I don't know what it was.
Do you ever you're going down like the chip? The chip aisle, the cookie aisle, whatever it may be.
I do the chips.
Whatever aisle it may be. And you notice something new, like a new chip or a new way to chip.
I got to try that.
There's a puff or a
scoop.
A puff or a scoop, or now they've, it's a baked or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It's do you have to try it? If you're a fan of the original,
right.
Do you go, oh boy, they've got now they have the Doritos Puffs. I haven't had a Dorito Puff.
A Dorito Puff.
Yeah, I haven't had those.
Is that like a Dorito Cheeto?
It's just a puffy
Dorito?
It's just a puffy Dorito, and I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
But
right.
I went, well, that's interesting looking, and I kept on walking.
I did try the baked chips, baked Cheetos.
No good.
No good.
No good.
That's a no-go on the baked Cheetos. Now the baked what is it? Ruffles?
Yeah.
The ridged.
Sure.
The rigid chips. Those are pretty good.
Those aren't bad.
Yeah, not bad. If you go the baked route. But I think that was the last new thing that I saw.
Okay.
And thought, okay, I'll try that. I'll try the baked chips.
Okay.
Yeah, but those normally catch my eye if it's new. You know
what? I'm going to do a little bit of a change on the running topic. We haven't had a running topic
it's been a
this
while,
week because we've been just stacked with guests. And so we've got McKenzie today. The rest of the time, it's you folks. Look at us. We get to hang out and talk about things today, and so that's great. That's what you can catch up on the podcast on interviews that you may have missed. And so, or we can go over some of the interviews that you heard. We can talk about that today. But today, I'm gonna do a little switcheroo here. What is your main impulse buy? And I'm going to kind of leave it open-ended here because I'm not going to just leave you at the grocery store, because there may be some of you out there who do not frequent the grocery store. There may be a lot of folks who go, Chad, I don't go there. But maybe you go to a Home Depot or a Lowe's, or maybe you go to your favorite gun store and maybe that's an impulse buy. I don't know. Maybe it is. But what is your main impulse buy? Doesn't necessarily get you in trouble, but it's just you see something and you're like, yeah, I wasn't here for that, but now that I see it on the shelves, I've got to get it. It's something that I have to have, but it wasn't on the list. Wasn't on the list in my head, but it's an impulse buy for you. What is that item? For Nick, it's chocolate bars. A chocolate bar, that is an impulse buy. For many people, that would be an impulse buy. Sometimes they put them right there at the very exit. You're about to check out. You look over there. There's a candy bar. It's looking at you, and it's like, you're weak. You know you're weak. You know you want some candy. And what do? You grab the candy bar. So your number one impulse buy. What are you weak to when it comes to either the grocery store, any store that's out there? We leave it a little bit open-ended there. A text coming in, Ted Cruz will not be president. I hope not. Why would you not want Ted Cruz as president of the United States? Why would you not want Ted Cruz, maybe one of the more conservative members of the Senate? Why would you not want him as president? You can text in at 806-680-2790. Steak. One texter, AC, says steak. It's an impulse buy. You got to do it. If you see it, you got to get some good steak in the basket. That's not wrong. That's a good answer. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, and more.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is Clay Travis. Don't forget to catch Buck and me on the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
Back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Hope you're having a good day out there. Hope it was a good one for you. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Tom Homan, the border czar that is now in Minnesota, taking over. vows to stay until in Minnesota until the problem is gone. Homan says he's had very productive meetings with the Minnesota Attorney General. The White House border czar Tom Homan vowed Thursday to remain in Minnesota, leading immigration and customs enforcement operations until the problem is gone. Homan made the statement during a Thursday morning news conference, his first since President Trump sent him to the Twin Cities earlier this week. He said the administration is working on a drawdown plan to decrease the presence of federal agents in the state. Border chief said he had a very productive meeting with the Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison on Wednesday. Ellison agreed to notify ICE when local jails were releasing violent illegal aliens, a major request from the federal law enforcement agencies. Quote, one ICE agent can arrest one bad guy when he's behind the safety and security of a jail. When he's behind bars, we know he doesn't have weapons, Homan said. But when you release that public safety threat, illegal alien back into the community, we have a job to do. We're going to arrest him. We're going to find him. Homan went on to demand that the hostile rhetoric and threats against ICE officers has to stop, vowing that agents will remain in the Twin Cities to do their jobs. Well, President Trump wants this fixed, and I'm going to fix this with your help. Trump deployed Homan to Minnesota after heated clashes between anti-ICE agitators and federal agents across the Twin Cities. The unrest resulted in the deaths of two U.S. citizens, Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, at the hands of law enforcement. Well, let's remember that Nicole Good, she tried to run over a police officer. That's something important to remember. You know, this Alex Preddy guy, there's video of him week before last maybe, spitting at officers and kicking out the back light of a patrol vehicle. So this idea that he was always this innocent guy who never started any issues, that's not true. He was known to people. Now, does that mean he deserved to get shot? By looking at the video, I haven't seen that. I think, again, mistakes were made. Does that mean that ICE ICE officials need to spend time in jail? No. Again, I think that we need to wait for the investigation to take place. We need to let all the details come out, but it does appear to be a series of bad mistakes, and quite honestly, he shouldn't have been there in the first place. And if it weren't for Minnesota authorities and the mayor of Minneapolis urging their citizens to resist ICE and to get in the face of ICE and to treat ICE as they're not law enforcement officials, I'm pretty sure that both of those individuals would still be alive today if it were not for their so-called leadership in Minnesota. Again, ICE is working every single day in Texas, and you don't hear about it. You don't hear about this stuff. You don't hear about protests. You don't hear any of this going on. ICE is working every day in New Mexico. They're working every day in Oklahoma. They're working every day in Louisiana. They're working it's so many. They're working all over the place. They may not be surged into certain areas, but they're making arrests every single day. But you never hear about it, except for right now in Minnesota. You know they're working in California, and you never hear about that. 806-680-2790. Tom Homan at one point said he's not in Minnesota for photo ops, which a lot of people took that as a dig at Kristi Noem. He and Noem don't always agree. They don't always see eye to eye. But Tom Homan, and I put this out the other day on social media, and I've seen some others who have agreed with it since. I think Tom Homan needs to be running all the ICE operations, to be honest with you. He's a no-nonsense guy. He wants a closed border. He wants to go after the criminal illegal aliens. He wants to make sure the job gets done, and the job gets done right. He's not looking for a photo op. He's not looking to cash this in for a VP gig or a presidential run in a couple of years. And I think you have some people like Christine Ohm who that's exactly what they want. They want to boost their profile, and I don't think their profile has really been boosted in a good way. (806-680-2790). We're asking you today, what is your main impulse buy, whether it's at the grocery store or elsewhere? One texter, my impulse buy, Doritos and chocolate lava Reese's Cups. Well, those sound pretty good. Joel and Claude, almost anything salted caramel. Yeah. 806-680-2790. You can send in your thoughts. Got a few more that have come in. We'll get to those after we visit with McKenzie DiLullo, who will join us next on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790.
Heads up, Texas.
So you don't hit my car when I'm sitting at a stoplight.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can ride my bike safely.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can make it across the street without getting run over.
Heads up, Texas.
So I don't have to write you a ticket.
Heads up, Texas, because driving and using your phone is a bad combination. Talk, text, crash. Brought to you by TxDOT.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
TSN headlines. The Washington Post reported last month that ICE had its eye on a vacant warehouse in Hutchins that could hold more than 9,000 detainees. A new report in Dallas Morning News says the agency had a specific property in mind, but a statement issued by the city of Hutchins says they haven't gotten any official confirmation about the reports. They have not been contacted by anyone from the federal government. The 2026 Texas Cannabis Policy Conference underway in Austin. The state is considering regulations that would ban most smokable hemp products and raise licensing fees from $125 to $25,000. A Southwest Airlines flight in San Antonio had to cancel takeoff after a smaller plane made a wrong turn and entered the runway without clearance. This happened Tuesday, and officials with Southwest Airlines say the flight eventually left for Dallas with no problems. They're still working with the FAA to investigate. In the NBA tonight, the Houston Rockets at Atlanta, the Dallas Mavericks host Charlotte. And with your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
Imagine there was more of you. A you working on custom retirement plans, while another you preps for open enrollment. When you partner with Paychex, we become an extension of your team. From AI-powered intelligent HCM to HR advisory and employee solutions, we give you more of you. New customers book a meeting with Paychex and get a $50 gift card. Visit paychex.com/you.
The rental team at ASCO is ready to help you find the right equipment to do the job. For over 65 years, we've dedicated ourselves to supporting you with fast service and reliable equipment. Choose from daily, weekly, or long-term rental options to fit your project's needs. Buy it, rent it, support it. We're on it at ASCO Equipment. Visit ASCOEQ.com for your next equipment rental. That's ASCOEQ.com.
Lubbock South Plains weather forecast. The temperatures moving into the mid-50s on this Thursday. The temperatures will drop overnight in the mid-20s. At times the wind will be gusty and wind chills are a factor. The temperature readings will continue to move into the mid-50s by Friday, with temperatures dropping once again to 38 degrees on Saturday. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and Sonic American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Roberts in Lubbock, official weather station News Talk KFYO.
Financial news on KFYO.
I'm daily with your money now. Apple easily beat Wall Street estimates on both earnings and revenue last quarter. iPhone revenue overall was up 23%, tied to people upgrading their phones, and it now has an active base of 2.5 billion devices in use. Sales in China surged 38% thanks to iPhone sales overseas. Mac laptop sales were down 7% year over year. iPad sales were up 6% from a year earlier. Services revenue like Apple TV, iCloud, and advertising missed expectations. Wall Street rallied late in the session to finish mixed. Dow Industrials added 56 points, ending the day at 49,071. NASDAQ was down 172. S&P 500 was off by 9. Apartment rents continue to decline. The latest data from Apartment List shows the national median rent in January, $1,353, down 1.4% year over year. It's the fourth straight winter with a pronounced drop in prices. That's your money now.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. All your roles, fill them sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Local events, newsmakers, and information. It's Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Coming up on Sunrise LBK on Friday, start the weekend with an interview.
We're going to be interviewing a candidate for Texas 19, a congressman, which would represent Lubbock, West Texas, Abilene, and so forth. Matt Smith.
Also, Ryan Hyatt, Weekend Sports Preview, and candidate JP, Mike Kostelich.
2 candidates.
Right here on Sunrise LBK in the morning. 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO, and KFYO.com.
Empowering West Texas with news that matters. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO.
It's the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, welcome back. Chad Hasty Show. Hope you're having a nice evening. Nice drive home for many of you. Maybe you're already at home or still stuck at the office. Glad that you've joined us. Either way, joining us on the phones right now, our great friends over at the Texan News. We have McKenzie DiLullo joining us here on the Chad Hasty Show. McKenzie, welcome back. How are you this evening?
I'm well. Happy Thursday to you. I hope you've thawed after this last week.
Yeah, it's nice. The ice has melted at least here in Lubbock. I know we still some areas out there that may have a little bit of ice, but it's good. And then I think this weekend there's another brief cool down and Arctic front, but no snow, so that's good.
That's so good. I love it.
Yeah. We've got a lot to get into, a lot happening over at the Texan. Let's go back to, I guess it was last weekend now. You'll have a really nice write-up over at the Texan about this debate between Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico.
Yes, these are the two Democrats running in the U.S. Senate race for that Democratic nomination to eventually challenge whoever will be the Republican nominee for the same seat. That could be John Cornyn, the incumbent, could be Ken Paxton, our current Attorney General, Wesley Hunt, a congressman. It's a stacked field, and I'd say the same on the Democratic side here. And these two debated on immigration, health care, talked about the current presidential administration, talked about their records as lawmakers. And it's easy to forget, Crockett is currently a congresswoman Tallarico and her served in the House together in the Texas House in Austin, and that's not that far removed from their current history. So they kind of referenced that a little bit. This was a debate hosted by the AFL-CIO, who then later, after the debate, declined to endorse in the race. Tallarico's pitch often comes in for unity, loving one's neighbor, talks a lot about billionaires and negative impact on society. That's really, the crux of a lot of what he talks about. Crockett, talks a lot about citing her viral moments. Choose out Republicans in those moments, and certainly is a huge talking point for the national media. The need for authenticity and her experience as a public defender. She talked about, we know the President of the United States, this is her quote, decided that he would then come after our voices. And talking specifically about redistricting, that was a big portion of what she talked about. Tallarico talked a lot about uniting against billionaires. They talked about DHS funding. Of course, that's in headlines right now. It's ICE and everything that's going on in Minneapolis. And they were asked directly if they would defund or abolish the agency. Crockett said that they would have to clean house, were her words. And she says, I'm going to do it because they're actually Proud Boys that are currently in ICE. Tallarico said that it's time to tear down the secret police force and replace it with an agency that's actually going to focus on public safety. And both said that they wanted to impeach Christine Nome. They were pressed a little bit more whether they would straight up abolish the agency, and kind of tiptoed around that a little bit. The moderators noted that a Democrat had not won a statewide race in Texas in 32 years, and said style matters, kind of talking through the difference in approaches here with Tallarico, with a much more mild approach, and Crockett with a firebrand attitude. It largely remained just respectful. And Crockett, like I said, noted during the debate, James and I started in the state house together. He's actually been elected more than I have been elected. Yet he's not as known right now because I have engaged in these fights. And they have been right there on the front lines where people can see me out front. Interesting messaging. Of course, primary day is March 3rd, so keep an eye out for this race. This is the U.S. Senate race is stacked on both sides. It'll be interesting to see who our nominees are in November.
Yeah, absolutely. Many of those maybe around the state, they may or may not know, but there's actually an election coming up very soon that Republicans and Democrats are pouring money into.
Yeah, big one in Tarrant County. This is huge after former State Senator Kelly Hancock left and is now the acting Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. This is this Saturday, January 3rd is versus Election Day, and we have Democrat Taylor Remmett, who garnered the most votes in November, and it's in the three-way race. It started as a November special election. Two candidates made it into the runoff. The Democrat Taylor Remmett garnered the most votes because there were two Republicans in this race. Lee Wamsgons and John Huffman. Wamsgons proceeded to make it to this runoff here, but a lot of why this is gaining, so much traction is because the Democrat received 47% in this district, and it is rated a R60 by our calculations on the Texas Partisan Index, which 47, that's not that far off from it, basically taking the seat without a runoff. So lots of money being poured into this race. Wamsgons has raised about 1.2 million in monetary and in-kind donations since October. Remmett's reported a little shy of $500,000. This is, like I said, in Tarrant County, and this is where a lot of energy has been turned because this is the last urban, red county we hear so often talked about in Texas. And Democrats really see this as an opportunity to potentially just, show up in an election where turnout can be especially low. These special elections can certainly be instances of where we see a surprise result. We'll see what happens. This is, the first 3 days of early voting was where we saw the highest turnout. That was before the winter storm hit. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. in Tarrant County this Saturday. So keep an eye out. We'll be covering all of this on Saturday at the Texan.news.
Yeah, it'll be something to watch for sure. Then when it comes to the future, you've got a great story over at the Texan.news about possibility for Texas to gain 4 more congressional seats.
Yes, and of course it's not over till it's over, but we're forecasted to have 4 seats added to our congressional delegation in the 2030 reapportionment. For context, between 2010 and 2020, the last time this was determined, we added 2 congressional seats, okay? So, and by contrast, this is interesting, California is predicted to lose 4 seats So we're adding 4. California is losing 4. Notably, Florida is adding 2, and the whole list is on our website. So definitely go check that out. This is according to the American Redistricting Project. This is data, according to the United States Census Bureau. And of course, it's interesting that U.S. population growth has slowed this past year due to what the Bureau says is a historic decline in net international migration. But still, all 5 states grew in population, and Texas topped the list at number 1 with the greatest numeric growth, about 1.2% in population growth, with a gain of 391,100 people. So that's about 31.7 million people. Counties that had the highest rate of growth: Kaufman, Liberty, Rockwall, and Comal. And of course, the largest in Texas are Harris, Dallas, and Tarrant. And this comes in the wake of, the 2025 mid-decade redistricting dispute in Texas, where eventually the maps were the GOP-led and favored maps were upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court ahead of these primary election and the general election. So interesting to watch that. We're already talking about redistricting when it seems like it just happened yesterday, but really this is the actual schedule. It's 2030. And so we'll keep an eye on this and make sure everyone's up to date.
Yeah, very cool. Very nice. McKenzie, what else can people find over at the Texan.news?
Well, I'd encourage folks, like I said, we have a couple big special elections, a congressional district in around Houston, and we also have Senate District 9 that will be on everyone's radar this Saturday. So we'll be covering that at the Texan. And if you haven't checked out our War Room on our site in the election section, we would certainly encourage folks to do that. It has all the fundraising numbers, endorsements, latest coverage, polling numbers, all that and more at the Texan.news.
Yep, it's great info to have, that's for sure. And McKenzie, as always, appreciate you guys and appreciate the work you do. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you. That's McKenzie DiLullo with the Texan News. When we come back, more of your impulse buys. What are they? Also, your phone calls and text on any of the issues of the day. We'll be right back.
I need your love. You got that hold over me.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Tune in to Shooter on the Law with Lubbock lawyer Cole Shooter every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 on KFYO. Have questions about future estate planning that benefits the entire family? How about the ongoing struggle with scammers dealing with cryptocurrency? Find the answers to all your legal questions from a licensed attorney in the state of Texas with Cole Shooter and Shooter on the Law, Saturday mornings at 10 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
From the heart of the hub city to the wide open skies of West Texas, KFYO keeps you connected to the stories, the voices, and the conversations that matter most. This is the news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.
Every day I hear from Americans who feel like they're losing their voice, frustrated that their values are being ignored or erased. If that's you, let me tell you something that you can do right now. Join AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. AMAC isn't just another group. It's a powerful community built on faith, family, and common sense. They're standing in the gap, giving millions of Americans the tools to stay informed, engaged, and prepared. Members get real, practical benefits, unbelievable discounts on insurance, travel, and retail, plus access to exclusive resources and the AMAC magazine, which is truly one of the best publications out there. And for a limited time, you can join free for 90 days. No credit card required, no strings attached. Just a chance to see what the Association of Mature American Citizens is all about for free. So go to amac.us/Levin right now. That's amac.us/LEVIN. Take the first step and make your voice matter again. That's amac.us/LEVIN.
All right, back on the Chad Easty Show. Fox News reporting. Trump and Schumer have reached a government funding deal, sacrificing DHS spending in the process. Senate Democrats and the White House reached a deal to fund the government, but lawmakers aren't out of the woods yet in averting a partial shutdown. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, President Trump labored over a deal from late Wednesday until Thursday evening after the top Senate Democrat released several funding demands. And the White House accused Schumer of blocking a meeting with rank-and-file Democrats. The separation of the 5 bipartisan bills the Democrats asked for, plus a 2-week DHS continued resolution, has been agreed to. So we're going to fight another day. Trump, in a post on Truth Social, said the only thing that can slow our country down is another long and damaging government shutdown. I'm working hard with Congress to ensure we're able to fully fund the government without delay. Republicans and Democrats in Congress have come together to get the vast majority of the government funded until September, when we're going to play this whole song and dance again, while at the same time providing extra extension to the Department of Homeland Security. Hopefully, both Republicans and Democrats will give a very much needed bipartisan yes vote, he continued. The deal brokered between the two would see the Department of Homeland Security funding bill stripped from the broader 6-bill package. Schumer and Democrats have been adamant that if the bill were sidelined, they'd vote for the remaining 5, which includes funding for the Pentagon. The agreement also tees up a short-term funding extension known as a continuing resolution for 2 weeks to keep the agency funded while lawmakers negotiate restrictions on ICE. Trump and Schumer's truce comes after Senate Majority Leader John Thune and Senate Republicans barreled ahead with a test vote on a funding package that was torpedoed by Senate Democrats and even 7 Republicans earlier in the day. So they're still working everything out. But again, all we do is we kick the can down the road, and we'll do this again in 2 weeks, and there'll be threats of a shutdown, and then there'll be an agreement, and we'll get back to yelling about something else. That's how the government works. 806-680-2790. One texter says their main impulse buy ice cream. Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one. And it's an aisle, it's an aisle that you never have to go down. Like it's one of those aisles, it says above it, ice cream. You don't have to go down that aisle. But you test it. You test it just to see how it's going to go. 806-680-2790. Elizabeth says the most common impulse buys are books, especially if she's on Amazon and getting quilting fabric. I can quickly get out of control with these two things if I'm not disciplined. Yeah. My wife in knitting, we have just tons of yarn and knitting things, and she's in a needlepoint now, and there's a lot of that stuff. I don't even know what all it is. It's just, it all looks the same to me, and then I'm told, no, that's different. This goes over here, and okay. Yeah, whatever. It's all good. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. You can weigh in, sound off on any of the topics, any of the issues that we've talked about today. Tim Walls says that he's done with politics. Oh, no. Tim Walz says he's never going to run for office ever again. He's done. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says his time as a political candidate is over. Quote, I will never run for elected office again. Never again, Walz, the Democrat Party's 2024 vice presidential nominee, said in an interview with MS Now. Facing stinging criticism from Trump and other Republicans, even some Democrats, over a massive fraud scandal rocking Minnesota, Walz earlier this month announced that he was dropping his bid for a unprecedented third term as governor. At the time, he didn't rule out any future plans for elected office. Since Walz's announcement, the state has become the epicenter for the heated battle over Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. Walz not running for anything. I'm okay with that. I'm fine. That sounds right. He probably shouldn't run for anything ever again. Texture weighs in with their impulse bias fishing tackle. It's good. Another texture says impulse buy cosmetic procedures. Nick, let me ask you something, and I'm just going to throw this out there. Do you know if anyone, like, out of all the people you know up here, who is the most likely to get Botox? I'm going with Matt Crow.
Yeah.
That's a good
one. That is a good, if he hasn't already. And you know what?
I've heard he has.
Exactly.
I've heard
you see pictures of him?
Yeah, I've heard he's had work done.
Yeah, little, I think he's trying to get close. You know the Ken doll, the structure of the Ken doll?
He's got a long way to go.
He's getting there, though. He's getting there, and I think that's his goal.
Yeah.
So he would definitely be, he would be my first.
Okay.
My first option.
Yeah, if he hasn't already, which we think he has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Ken Corbin, maybe.
I don't see Ken getting any cosmetic procedure. No.
You don't?
No.
I would not be surprised.
I don't see him doing the Botox.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You get to.
I can see you doing it. Like you.
Is this where you were going?
No.
With this?
No, not at all.
Okay. What feature would I accentuate if I were to get Botox? What do you think I would enhance?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. You haven't thought that.
I haven't. You
thought about it.
I gotta say, I haven't thought about what features of yours should be enhanced. Sounds weird. Just go to break. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.
Bill Cunningham here, the Great American, every Sunday night with guest commentaries, phone calls, and more. We expose political obfuscation, ridiculous immigration policies, and absurd government spending that causes more problems than it solves. The Great American experiment continues as we fight like warrior poets for the soul of this great country of ours. Be part of this action every Sunday night with the Great American, Bill Cunningham.
Bill Cunningham, Sunday nights at 9 on News Talk KFYO. Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream. Every Sunday evening from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on News Talk KFYO.
Take KFYO on the go with the KFYO app. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
It's 6 o'clock in Texas.
Close to a deal. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The White House and Senate working together on a deal that would limit the impact of a government shutdown.
What that deal would see is that DHS funding bill be split away from the package of 5 other appropriations bills. Those 5 other bills have broad bipartisan support. They could pass those separately. What would then happen with the DHS bill is they would use what's called a 2-week continuing resolution to fund DHS for 2 weeks while they negotiate what they want to do with this ICE money. The problem with that is by changing anything about this package of bills, it would then have to be bounced back to the House.
Fox's Bill Malugin, The Catch. The House won't be back in session until next week. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey calling for reforms to ICE, and she says she will fight against federal agents coming into her state.
I'm filing legislation to keep ICE out of our schools, daycares, other child care centers, churches, hospitals, health clinics, and our courthouses.
He's also filed legislation that would make it unlawful for another state to deploy its National Guard into Massachusetts without her permission. The move comes after President Trump sent troops to Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles last year. Former President Bill Clinton and former Senator Hillary Clinton may be a step closer to facing contempt of Congress charges.
They were supposed to testify about the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Those resolutions are expected to be ready for debate by the full House Monday. House Oversight Chair James Comer had issued the subpoenas, but the Clintons have said they're invalid because they're not tied to a legislative purpose. Comer also rejected an offer from the former president to sit down for an interview.
Fox's Jill Nato in Washington. America is listening to Fox News.
Has anybody told you about Coast to Coast AM tonight?
Coast to Coast is one of those programs that deals with strange mysteries. We'll look at Bigfoot. We'll look at UFOs. We'll look at real science. And we'll also look at conspiracies and what it all means to you, the listeners of Coast to Coast AM.
It's the best in overnight talk radio. Coast to Coast AM.
Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Tonight at midnight on KFYO.
Lubbock's Uplands weather forecast. The temperatures moving into the mid-50s on this Thursday. The temperatures will drop overnight in the mid-20s. At times the wind will be gusty and wind chills are a factor. The temperature readings will continue to move into the mid-50s by Friday, with temperatures dropping once again to 38 degrees on Saturday. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and Sonic American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Roberts on Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, news and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show, final hour of the program. Tomorrow, an open line Friday. You're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. Got a lot to get into in this hour. Find me on social media at Chad Hasty Radio on X, also Instagram, Facebook. You can find me. Also, don't forget about the podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast. Get caught up on all the interviews that we've had and that we will have in the future via the podcast. It's a great place to check out. If you missed our interview yesterday with any of the candidates, including Abraham Enriquez, you can find that online. And we're also sending out some teaser audio clips on social media. You can check that out, too. Let's see. Oh, the podcast available anywhere you get your podcast from. So Spotify, Apple Podcast, and I'm sure there are others out there too. Dan Patrick, the Lieutenant Governor, out earlier today. He tweeted out, "I love President Trump's idea, Trump accounts, to give every child born in America a Trump account with $1,000 invested in the S&P 500. He continued, "Following President Trump's 2025 announcement, I announced the next session I will pass." He's guaranteeing that he will pass the Little Texan Savings Fund giving children born in Texas an additional $1,000 invested in the S&P 500. That's a total of $2,000 for every child born in Texas. There are approximately 400,000 children born in Texas each year. I believe it's a fantastic way to return money back to taxpayers. They're not Stop. They're not taxpayers. They're babies. They don't pay any taxes. It's kind of nice for them. They don't have to pay any taxes. But anyway, okay, fine. I believe it's a fantastic way to return money back to the taxpayers, helping young families begin their savings journey and teaching the power of investing to Texas' next generation. Family members will also be able to add an additional $5,000 per year if they choose. And we will have this fight when the session gets started, folks. The answer is no on this one. It is not Dan Patrick's job. Look, I'm not a fan of the Trump accounts. I think it is not a way to teach kids about capitalism. It is not what the government should be doing. It is not the government's job to take your money, your taxpayer money, and redistribute it. That's what it is, folks, to other people. I can guarantee you, by the time these children reach 18 years old, they're not going to look back and go, hey, thanks, Trump. I'm going to be a Republican now. That's not how it's going to work. And this issue of giving, setting up, $1,000 trust funds or whatever you want to call them, it's not going to go away. The Trump administration has it just going while he's in office, but the Democrats, they're going to want to keep it up. They love taking away your money and giving it to other people. They're going to want to keep it up, and they may increase it. And they may say, wait a minute, you may not even have to be a child legally born in the United States. You may not have to have two legal parents in the United States. How are you going to police that? How are you going to police that in Texas as well? And then in Texas, well, you can only give up to $5,000 per year. Why? What if someone's grandparents want to give $10,000 in a year? Why is it up to the state of Texas to decide how much money can go into that account? This is not conservatism. This is not small government. Dan Patrick has lost his mind when it comes to small government conservatism. He's off of it. He's giving money to Hollywood. He's giving money to all kinds of groups out there. Now he wants to come up with little Texan accounts. How about this, Dan? How about you make it easier for the little Texans to stay in their homes? And what I mean by that is, how about you get rid of property taxes? How about you make it easier for parents to stay in their homes so they can raise their little Texans and maybe pass on generational wealth in the future? How about that? It is not the lieutenant governor's job. It is not the state of Texas outside of a classroom. It is not the state of Texas's job to teach kids about their savings journey. No. Even inside the classroom, they're doing a horrible job at teaching that. And we're talking about a lot of money here, because it's not a one-year deal. This is going to go on. I think the last thing I read is that Patrick wants it as part of a constitutional amendment, which is insane. First of all, Dan, come up with your own idea, okay? If you want to be popular, come up with your own idea. This isn't going to buy you popularity anyway. It's telling that I haven't seen any of the small government senators come out against this idea yet. I'd love to see it. I'm sure they're worried if they vote against this, what'll happen to them. They may get strongly worded letters. They may be called into the principal's office if they go against this idea. Not many senators go against what Dan Patrick wants. But this is a terrible idea. It is not. If a Democrat proposed this idea, if Barack Obama had come up with Obama bucks, Ted Cruz, his head would have exploded. And how we're just indoctrinating children into the socialist lifestyle. Well, guess what you're doing? There's a reason why when I see an article that says, hey, a universal basic income is on its way, I don't laugh at that. There are fewer and fewer politicians with a spine to stand up and go, no, we're spending too much money. And yes, some of this does go back to COVID when we were just cutting checks to everybody. Here you go. Hey, you need some money. You want some money? It's COVID bucks. Here you go. We're going to make sure everyone's taken care of. People get addicted to that. They get addicted to the quote-unquote free money. And then what does the state do? They come in with the Dan's little bucks or whatever they're going to call it. And they're going to put regulations. Well, you can only use it for this, for these type of school books. You can only use it for this. You can only use it for that. You can only use it for that. Where's the free market at? Where's the free market at there? I thought you wanted kids to learn about freedom. I thought you wanted them to learn about capitalism. No, when they turn 18, you should just say, okay, here's the money, go. But now you want to put rules on the kids when they turn 18. I understand the reason why, but that's why you don't do it in the first place. The lieutenant governor says this will pass. He's going to make sure it passes. I'm hoping people will stand up and say no. And I hope the lieutenant governor at some point decides, hey, let's do something real for families. Hey, let's do something that'll really help families save money. This idea of, we want to return this to the taxpayers. Stop taking it away from us to begin with. If we have all this extra money just floating around where you can come up with these stupid ideas where you can take $1,000 and just give it away to everybody, maybe we're giving you guys too much damn money. So maybe we should start there and reduce how much we're sending in taxes to the state. How about that? How about we cut back on property taxes even more? How about the state government stop spending like they're in the federal government and believe there's not going to be any pushback in the future? The bill won't come due at some point. It will. 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages. We'll get to this story about a universal basic income. We've got Ted Cruz news as well to talk about. We'll be right back.
Leaves are falling all around.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Pedal to the metal, greased lightning, burn rubber, make tracks, full gas. Whatever you call it, it's speeding. And a heavy foot can cost you a heavy fine or more. Speeding is a factor in more than 150,000 crashes every year in Texas, many of them fatal. Slow down, be safe, drive smart, and take it easy. A message from the Texas Department of Transportation.
Local events, newsmakers, and information. It's Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Coming up on Sunrise LBK on Friday, start the weekend with an interview.
We're going to be interviewing a candidate for Texas 19, a congressman, which would represent Lubbock, West Texas, Abilene, and so forth. Matt Smith.
Also, Ryan Hyatt, Weekend Sports Preview, and candidate JP, Mike Kostelich.
Two candidates.
Right here on Sunrise LBK in the morning. 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO, and KFYO.com.
If your credit card balance is freaking you out after all the holiday spending, I have something that can save you money right now. Cut your cell phone bill in half by switching to Pure Talk Saver Plan. Just $20 a month for unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on Pure Talk's super-fast nationwide 5G network. As a veteran-led company that cares about giving back to those who serve, if you're active or former military or a first responder, you'll save an additional 20% every single month. The easiest way to free up cash flow is to reduce your monthly recurring bills. Start with cutting overpriced wireless and switching to my wireless company. Just dial pound 250 and say Mark Levin, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will help you switch in just minutes. Again, talk, text, and data, just $20 a month. Dial pound 250, say Mark Levin, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250, say Mark Levin. Pure Talk is America's wireless company.
Lubbock's Uplinks weather forecast. The temperatures moving into the mid-50s on this Thursday. The temperatures will drop overnight in the mid-20s. At times the wind will be gusty and wind chills are a factor. The temperature readings will continue to move into the mid-50s by Friday, with temperatures dropping once again to 38 degrees on Saturday. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and Sonic American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Robertson, Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
PSN headlines. The Washington Post reported last month that ICE had its eye on a vacant warehouse in Hutchins that could hold more than 9,000 detainees. A new report in the Dallas Morning News says the agency has a specific property in mind, but a statement issued by the city of Hutchins says they have not been contacted by anybody from the federal government. Another cold front coming for a big part is Texas, but no precipitation expected. Hundreds of hemp store owners expected in Austin over the next few days to let lawmakers know what they think of proposed state rules that could put them out of business. New rules include bans on hemp with THC and a significant bump in licensing fees from $125 to $25,000. A couple of weeks ago, polling from Emerson College showed Congressman Jasmine Crockett trailing House Representative James Tallarico by 9 points in the primary for U.S. Senate. New numbers from Texas Public Opinion Research show her up by 1% for likely Democratic primary voters. With your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
Imagine there was more of you. A you working on custom retirement plans, while another you preps for open enrollment. When you partner with Paychex, we become an extension of your team. From AI-powered intelligent HCM to HR advisory and employee solutions, we give you more of you. New customers book a meeting with Paychex and get a $50 gift card. Visit paychex.com/you.
Carsforkids.org. Right off the car, not the kid.
Got an old or unused vehicle you need to get rid of? Donate it to the original carsforkids.org. Towing is free, and you'll be helping kids in our communities. Carsforkids.org is the best vehicle donation charity impacting the lives of kids thanks to your vehicle donations. Carsforkids.org picks up vehicles in any condition, and you'll receive a $50 gift card. Don't delay. Donate today.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
Don't forget about Chad. Find Chad on social media at Chad Hasty Radio on X and Instagram. It's The Chad Hasty Show.
All right, back back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Your running topic today, what is your main impulse buy? We've had a lot of people say some different chips and ice cream. That's a popular one. Fishing tackle. I like that. It's good. Fishing tackle. One listener said steak. That's good. Nick's is just a good candy bar. Just, a good piece of chocolate. Maybe some peppermint bark. Who knows if he can find it. That's not even an impulse buy. That's a must-buy for Nick. So yesterday, you had President Trump kind of float the idea of Ted Cruz for the U.S. Supreme Court. He was asked about it. And our friends over at the Texan News, they published this quote from Cruz. To be discussed in those circumstances is a high honor. This is a conversation I've had with the president many times, and he and I had serious conversations about the court for all three of the vacancies, for all three of the appointments he made. And I told him no 3 times. The reason I've said no is a principled federal judge stays out of policy fights and stays out of political fights. If I were a federal judge, that's what I would do. But I don't want to stay out of the policy fights. I don't want to stay out of the political fights. I want to be right in the middle of them. And if right in the middle of them, and if that's what you want to do, the right place to do it is elected branches of government. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm doing right now. I care deeply about having principled constitutionalists on the Supreme Court and on the federal courts, and I've been part of nominating and confirming hundreds of them. But I don't want to be one of them. And so my answer, and the president knows this, I've told him in the Oval Office, my answer is not only no, but hell no. And from Senator Ted Cruz. I think Ted Cruz would be an excellent Supreme Court justice. I do. He's got a very sharp legal mind. I think he would be an excellent Supreme Court justice. I don't think he's ever going to be president of the United States. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't see him able to win the presidency. And he's going to try again. He's going to probably run in 2028. And I'm sure that he sort of likes being a U.S. senator. But, I mean, for Cruz, I think we all know, at least those who have been really paying a lot of attention, he wants to be president. And that's it. He wants to be president of the United States. He wants so badly to be president. And I don't think it's going to happen for him. Now, things could change, and maybe conservatism is popular again in the future. It could happen. And maybe Ted Cruz gets better at PR in the future. Again, remember, there's a lot of folks, even in the, they don't like Ted Cruz. They don't like his personality. There's just something about Ted Cruz. There are a lot of people who, they'll go and vote for him, but they just don't really like him. And they're not even sure if they want to vote for him in a primary, but they'll still, unless there's a better option, they're still going to vote for the guy. There's a reason why Cruz, he got, Beto O'Rourke got very close to winning and defeating Ted Cruz. For whatever reason, there are just some people who do not like Ted Cruz. Even on the right, they don't like him. I've heard different reasons. I'm going to vote for Ted Cruz. I'll vote for Ted Cruz every time he's running for Senate at this point, and I see no reason not to. I'm a fan of Ted Cruz. I think that he could do a lot for himself if he were to make trips out to Central Texas and West Texas and East Texas more often. It would be great if he were like John Cornyn in one way, and that is, being on local TV and radio more often. But he doesn't feel like he has to do that, not unless it's campaign season. And that's fine. There's a lot of elected officials who are like that. There are. But I wish West Texas and the big country and East Texas would see more of Ted Cruz in person. I think it would be good for him. It's almost like he's blinded by the Oval Office because, again, there are a lot of Republicans who, they may not want to vote for Ted Cruz for president, but I've heard a lot of Republicans who would love the guy as a Supreme Court nominee. And it would bug the hell out of the Democrats to have Ted Cruz part of the U.S. Supreme Court. Oh, it would bug them big time. They'd hate it. But yeah, he's not only a no, but a hell no to the U.S. Supreme Court. It's a pretty good gig, I'd say. Pretty good gig. Rick, universal basic income sounds like a way to make a classless society. So where does the money come from without high income taxpayers? Also, if it's base income, then it refers to more income than getting made. There will be a classless. There will still be classes of society. Of course there will be. Absolutely there will be. And this idea that, if everyone gets $2,000 extra a month, then everyone's going to be just fine. No. Have we not learned a lesson when it comes to sending out money and what that can do to an economy? Have we not learned a lesson when it comes to flooding the United States with money and flooding everyone with money and what it can do to the price of goods? You would have thought we'd learned a lesson, but I don't know if we have. Texter, I sure like the idea of Patrick dollars better than reparations. Well, yeah, but it's not an either-or scenario. I don't think Texas is going to be talking about reparations. Texter weighing in about the movie Terminator comes to mind about AI. Hey, go back and listen to yesterday's interview with Brendan Steinhauser, and you might really think, yeah, it's coming. It might be well on its way. The super intelligent computer. That is, what did he say? 200,000 times smarter than the collective of human society. It's a pretty smart computer. It's a pretty smart one. 806-680-2790. When we come back, we'll begin to wrap things up. Take your phone calls, your text, preview Friday show. It's almost the end of the week. How about that? We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Hi, Angie. This is your phone here in the cup holder. Pick me up.
No, I'm driving.
Oh, look, a text from Mr. Dreamy.
Hush, driving here.
I'm getting an email. Gwen is giving away free bunnies.
No, you are so pushy.
I know. I need therapy. Let's search it now.
Phone, quiet.
Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Talk, text, crash. A message from TxDOT.
This is House Call for Health. Multiple states with a lot of snow and ice over the past few days, and some health experts are urging caution while navigating around, citing the increased risk of bone breaks and fractures because of winter-related falls. Broken bones can trigger negative health outcomes, especially for older adults, because it's not simply an orthopedic injury. It can cascade into a situation where someone loses their independence and the ability to function for daily life. Experts say a number of things can contribute to weaker bones, and you can get a bone density scan or even a blood test to get a better idea of your situation. But as winter rages on, experts recommend a few safety tips to help keep people with weaker bones or anyone from slipping. For instance, making sure to wear the proper footwear that's grippy, going slowly, and making sure sidewalks are well taken care of. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Buck Sexton here to remind you to come hang with me and Clay Travis weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. You'll laugh, you'll learn, you'll never be alone.
Back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you for tuning in today. Let's see. Turning Point USA launching a first chapter in Wichita Falls ISD and Memorial High School. Turning Point USA officially forming a chapter at Memorial High School, becoming the first chapter in the Wichita Falls Independent School District. Student leaders explain the group's focus on civic engagement, political education, not party affiliation. Memorial High School administrators emphasize the chapter is student-run and designed to provide a space for political discussion on campus. Quote, I hope it involves more people in high school, get involved in politics, and just kind of get to learn about politics. The chapter president, Boston Morgette. Turning Point USA, national organization known for promoting conservative principles. Leaders of the Memorial chapter say their mission is broader, centered on exposing people to political ideas and fostering respectful dialogue. All right. Well, very good. Good luck with the new organization there on campus. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Hereford ISD considering a $150 million bond for a new high school. That's out of ABC 7. Hereford Independent School District contemplating a $150 million bond to replace the aging Hereford High School plagued by failing infrastructure. Superintendent highlighted the dire state of the school's facilities, noting that sewer infrastructure is about gone underneath the building. The electrical system is outdated for the technology that we have, and we can't even plug half the Chromebooks in a classroom into an electrical socket because there's not enough electricity. Voters just approved a new tax rate, which is aimed at teacher retention. The tax rate netted $1.5 million for the district, Carter says, and about $679,000 has already been used for staff stipends. We have plans for about $500 retention bonus in August, so that'll leave us about $500,000 out of that money, which we hope to put towards the base salary of our at-will employees. The high school, which is 73 years old, has not seen major improvements since its construction. The proposed bond would cost the average homeowner an additional $128 annually. Ouch. So they're going to be You're going to have to try to sell that to the folks in Hereford. When you look at it and you say, look, the high school's falling apart. We haven't done any major work on it since it was built. It's 73 years old. I think, again, a question that probably should be asked is why no one ever thought within the 73 years to make major improvements to the high school, do a little bit of changes, upgrades here and there. This is what gets you to the point where a building is falling apart. You don't take care of it. You let it age out. And it's technology is different now. The electrical's a little bit different now. Plumbing's different now. It's, and if you haven't done any major improvements and haven't really kept up with anything, instead just put Band-Aids over it, I could see where you probably would need a new school. But that's, again, now you're going to ask people to pay a lot more money at the end of their bill when it comes to the bond. And that's just, for this. Who knows what else may pop up in the area. Again, this is a reminder for a lot of folks out there that, and I know I brought up, property tax reform earlier. Even if you have property tax reform, even if you get everything you want out of property tax reform out of the House and Senate, in the next go around, you still have bond elections, and you still have your local governments that they can cause your property taxes to go very, very high, especially school property taxes to go very, very high. And that's something for everybody to remember. And you have to balance it out. Again, when it comes to a need of a school, I think that's much easier to sell than, hey, let's go build a new football stadium. Let's go build something that we don't absolutely have to have, but when it comes to a school, you got to have the school. You got to have a functioning building. You got to be able to be able to plug things in without the power going out. Tomorrow on the show, it'll be an open line Friday. Looking forward to that. We'll combine a little politics and current event news and get into a few fun topics as well, as we do on Fridays. We get you ready for the weekend. Of course, a nice little cold front that's going to be coming through on Saturday, and or I guess maybe late Friday into Saturday, make it cold on Saturday. No snow expected, so that's a good thing. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe, stay healthy. May God bless you all. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 5 p.m.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.